Today I would like to share my biggest discovery in life, and that is the power of a Carlos moment. And as you will soon realize, I like to do things differently. Even today, my talk, I have never done it in this order or way before. So for today, let's start with, are there any questions? And thank you for listening. Then let's kick it off with a question for you. What's the difference? These are highway signs in the Netherlands and Belgium. And I live in Best. I moved there a year ago. I moved to Best, and I must say, since then, my international career really took off. If you type in Google, best public speaker. Last year I also wrote a book that is sold in my hometown. It's a bestseller. But the difference is 44% less traffic jams. 44% less traffic. The old and the new highway signs. So the arrows down. 60, 70 years ago, when highways were first introduced in the Netherlands, we more or less placed them above our highways in this manner. And it worked. Until one university student asked, why? Just a simple why. And he must have thought, who am I to change something this big? Who am I to change something that we've been doing the same way for so many years? But he persevered, he tested it, and near a highway, near Antwerp, Belgium, he measured the biggest difference, 44% less traffic jams. And that made me wonder, if something so small can have such a big effect, what if we, in our lives, make a small change? Maybe even choose to make a small change. Because my life has always been busy. There was always the next big thing waiting out there before me, and it's always been this way, always. If I go back, it started early on. I was good with numbers, so I went to the university, study international business, and if you want to accomplish something in life, you have to work hard. It doesn't come for free. You have to work hard. So next to my university studies, I had 3 part-time jobs, good for another 30 hours a week. I was student association. I was assistant to a Dutch parliament member. Every year I went abroad for 2 months for some international experience. And I don't know if you can recognize this feeling, but for me, it felt like I got on a train. I got on a train that started to race into the future. And all of a sudden, I was only racing. The next station is not that interesting. 9, 10 stations into the future, there it would be okay. And there I could reap the fruits or the benefits of all my hard labor. And the hard work remained. But the moment that I could enjoy more, for me, felt like ever out of reach. The thing I missed most was just look outside the window. look out the window and see and enjoy all those small, beautiful moments that passed me by on a daily basis. I didn't see them anymore because my focus was there. And I still know the date, July 20th, I was in holidays, Albufeira, Portugal, beautiful sunny day. I walked into the cooler seawater and I just passed that moment. It's for the men. Okay, for the women too. Only you get it twice. And I was standing in waist-high water, and a big wave approached, and it felt like that was my wave. Enthusiastically, I dive into that wave. I dive too steeply. I hit my head against the ocean floor. I hear crack. I break my neck. Can't move a single muscle in my entire body anymore. I was floating with my face down into the water. I could only wait. There were thousands of people around me. And still, I was alone. And then, when water entered my lungs, and I had to say my goodbyes, a second big wave approached that flipped me over onto my back, and I could breathe again. I got a second chance. And then everything went really, really quickly. I wake up in a room I do not recognize. I wake up in a body I don't recognize. In blind panic, I scream out. And nobody comes. Why not? They were used to it. Portugal, there were quite a lot of diving accidents there, and a diving victim is in panic. And if you scream long and hard enough, eventually someone comes. I can hear footsteps entering the room, and in the corner of my eye, I can see someone neatly checking all the monitors beside me. She turned around and also left the room. And then there was Carlos. Carlos is the nurse you see in the picture behind me. And this man changed my life. He placed his hand on my shoulder, on a part that I still had feeling, and said, "It's okay." That was everything that was needed. Just a warm hand on the shoulder. It's okay. And it made me wonder if something so small can have such a big effect. Then we must all be capable of making a difference. But what do you think that Carlos said when I told him what he meant to me? Ma, it was just my job. It was normal. You would have done the same for me. It was something so small. But later, he also felt joy. He realized, by doing something small, maybe even something that he considered part of his job, he could add a lot of value to the life of someone else. And I dare to ask the question, how do you react? How do you react when someone takes the time and the effort to thank you? Do you let it in? Or do you push it away? Because the nurse who checked all the monitors just did a job. And technically, everything was perfect. All the procedures, all the protocols, even the legal stuff, everything was covered. Making a difference happens after the basics. Happens what you do after you covered the technical stuff. And for me, it's not the challenge to work even harder, but maybe our biggest challenge is to take a step back, which is quite difficult. Take a step back and do all the things that you already do, which is so many things, and do that with a little bit more care. And now with everything I do, I ask myself the question, do I just want to do a job, which is sometimes fine? Or can I, via a simple way, make a difference? Via a simple way, do something special. And last year, I had the presentation of my new book, and believe me, a book presentation, the launch of a new book, isn't the most inspiring event of the year. But I felt like this deserved something more. So for the first time in 10 years, I called to Portugal. I called Carlos. I asked him if he was willing to come to the Netherlands. Half an hour later, he had already booked his flight. And he was so nervous. He worked on his speech for 5 months. And he came up on stage and he was shivering. And hello, I'm Carlos from the book. So I rolled up to him, placed my hand on his shoulder. It's okay. And the connection that the two of us have is so dear to me. Maybe even the connection that we dare to have. This picture was taken when he had to leave again. And I will never forget what he told me in this moment. Jaap, you always say that I changed your life. You have to know that you changed mine as well. If you do something special for someone else. Not by working harder, but maybe by working with a little bit more care. It all comes back to you too. A Carlos moment goes both ways. My only wish for you is go and find your own Carlos moments. Let them in. Enjoy them. Share them. Celebrate them. Because they're out there waiting just for you. Thank you very much.